It is a busy Sunday morning in the railroad town of DeQueen, Arkansas. We will jump right into the action with a northbound empty coal train. This train is from the Welsh Power Plant in Texas and is making its way northbound on the CPKC Shreveport subdivision. Aside from CPKC's main line and their small yard, there is another railroad that's somewhat of a hidden gem here in the natural state. The DeQueen and Eastern Railroad interchanges and shares a diamond with the Class 1 giant. Currently, their power is in CPKC's yard, awaiting clearance to conduct interchange operations and then later depart. But first, dispatch must get this high-priority intermodal through town. This is the northbound MMX, Train 181. Not long after the hotshot intermodal cleared town, the DQE has finished up interchanging with the Class 1 and can be found departing the yard to head for their own yard. While interchange operations are concluded, the job of building this train isn't done yet. Just outside of town, we find the DQE switching before departing eastbound. In 2010, the railroad was acquired by short-line operator Patriot Rail. While a few motors have been repainted into their simple blue corporate scheme, several still remain in the DQE's unique blue and yellow design. The days for this paint scheme are numbered though, so we were pleasantly surprised to find a quartet of blue and yellow Jeeps on the consist, even though our leader has a bit of a crude patch job on the nose. This is the Dierks turn, which runs out of DeQueen and heads east to the mill town of Dierks. Various timber products are hauled along the route, such as wood chips and pulpboard. Leading the charge to Dierks will be Locomotive D13. The first thing that you'll notice is that unique number system that a majority of the locomotives on the property feature. I was informed after my first visit to the DQE that the letter D stands for diesel. The original charter for this short line can be traced back over 124 years ago in 1900. There was a need for the local timber industry to be linked with the American rail system. Construction would begin shortly after towards the east. Within 6 years, the railroad had reached Dierks, a grand total of 27 miles from DeQueen. In 1910, the Texas, Oklahoma, and Eastern was chartered to construct a route from Valiant, Oklahoma to DeQueen. The DQE would take a controlling interest in the TOE very early on. With the TOE complete, a unified route between western Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma was now in full swing. In the 1950s, a final extension from Dierks to Perkins would be completed with the Humble Short Line, now interchanging with the Mopac, which would later become the UP. Both the DQE and TOE were owned by the Dierks Lumber and Coal Company. The family-owned business would sell the road to the lumber industry giant Weyerhaeuser in the mid-1960s. Weyerhaeuser would eventually give up the short lines in 2010 to Patriot Rail, who still owns and operates the roads today. DeQueen was truly a town that owes its existence to the railroad. When the KCP&G constructed its route through the county, it seemed that the town sprung up overnight. In fact, a devastating fire would wipe out DeQueen in 1899, but the spirit of the locals would see the town rebuilt rather quickly. Without the presence of the railroad, it's likely that the town would have simply been abandoned by its citizens. Our train has completed its switching moves and can now make its way eastbound to Dierks. We'd intercept the train on Farmer Market Road between DeQueen and Lockesburg. While Lockesburg would get the DQE as a railroad, the KCP&G and later KCS routing through DeQueen instead would lead to the town losing its title as county seat, and the town would ultimately downsize continuously through the years. With the population moving to DeQueen, Dierks, Texarkana, or even as far as Shreveport for work, Lockesburg would simply end up as a bedroom town. In the town of Dierks, we find the primary economic presence, the massive Weyerhaeuser sawmill. From a distance, you can see the power of another one of DQE's jobs. That job carries traffic from here to Perkins to the Union Pacific Interchange. DQE is going to be setting its train off in the siding just to the east of South Arkansas Avenue. The crew is going to stop for a quick lunch break and then return to their power. They'll bring the four motors light power towards the mill and pick up a cut of loaded wood chip cars. Several empties were brought from DeQueen and will be brought into the mill more than likely the next morning. All of these locomotives are EMD GP40s, with our new leader D20 specifically being a GP40-2. D20 was built new for the railroad in 1974. D13 and D12 were part of a previous order from DQE in 1971. The only engine that has seen service with other roads is the D23, which now trails second. This GP40 was built in 1968 for the infamous Penn Central, and later served Conrail until its purchase from the TOE. The train has made its pickup and will only be taking these loaded chips back to DeQueen. While the line is very interesting and the power makes the day, there really isn't many decent photography angles on this segment of the track, so we settled for Lockesburg once again with perfect lighting for a westbound train. Back in DeQueen, we find the D20 slowly maneuvering in their yard. The train will be taken apart where we can't access without blatantly trespassing, so this is where we'd call it a day. We'd get one more glimpse of the blue and yellow motors before they shove and disappear around the curve. I hope that you've enjoyed our day with the DeQueen and Eastern Railroad. With only a handful of motors still repping the original road's paint scheme, it was fantastic luck getting 4 of them together. In a few years, this line will look like every other Patriot Rail short line and stripped of its unique identity. So if you find yourself in the area, make sure you check out the DQE. But until the next time, my friends, I will be seeing you somewhere out there along the rails, and as always, thanks for watching.